Let's talk about how some of these NFL players get that great contract, taste a little money, and blow it all on vices right after making it out of the trenches. They blow the bag on girls who got designer dreams and Birkin bag budgets. Next thing you know, these players are paying child support for half a roster of kids, or cutting divorce checks big enough to fund a whole new team. It's wild out here. These girls are taking home Super Bowl rings without even lacing up. But don't worry, because we are about to dive into the players who fumbled harder off the field than on it, starting with Andre Rison. This story is a wild ride through the peaks of NFL stardom and the pits of financial ruin, a saga rich with flashy spending, high-octane romance, and the sting of regret. With an impressive career earning him over $19 million, Rison seemed to be living the dream, but in truth, he was on a path to financial disaster. His downfall was fueled by a taste for the extravagant and an inability to hold back when it came to spending. Rison lived like a rock star. He was not just content with 1 or 2 luxury cars, he bought 3 high-end vehicles in a single season.
And in my lifetime, I had probably about 34 Benzes, probably about 8 Ferraris, probably about 14 Beamers, probably about 20 trucks.
And why stop there? His taste for the finer things extended to jewelry, on which he blew a jaw-dropping $1 million. He once reflected on his reckless spending with a laugh, saying he'd casually toss around $100 bills instead of 5s, because why not? For Rison, the money seemed limitless, an illusion he clung to even as it slipped away. Then came the infamous chapter in his love life that everyone remembers, his relationship with TLC's Lisa Left Eye Lopez. Their love affair was fiery, literally. In 1994, an argument between the two exploded into chaos when Lopez set fire to his Atlanta mansion, causing over $1 million in damages. Imagine watching your dreams go up in flames, literally and figuratively. The incident made headlines worldwide, a vivid symbol of the chaotic, destructive nature of their romance and a hefty hit to Rison's dwindling bank account. But Rison's financial woes didn't end with his high-speed lifestyle or fiery love story. There were other demands, like child support, which led to a $300,000 restitution order and 5 years of probation. In ESPN's Broke series, Rison recounted waking up to piles of money strewn around him as if it were disposable. He admitted that he never thought about the future, living purely for the thrill of the present. Rison's story may seem like an outlier, but he wasn't the only NFL star who watched his fortune slip through his fingers. His is just one chapter in a larger tale of athletes seduced by sudden wealth, only to face financial ruin. Clinton Portis. At his peak, Portis was unstoppable on the field. In 2004, he signed a colossal 8-year, $50.5 million contract with the Washington Redskins, which included a whopping $17 million in bonuses. It was a historic deal, making him the highest-paid running back in NFL history at the time, a reflection of his extraordinary talent and potential. But as dazzling as his success was on the field, Portis's life off the field was equally intense, marked by extravagant spending, luxury cars, designer clothes, wild parties. Portis spared no expense. And then there was his entourage. Portis was known for rolling with a tight circle, friends and girlfriends alike, lavishing them with everything from luxury gifts to lavish vacations. For example, around 2006, it was reported that Portis was dating Chandra Davis, and then later female rapper Trina, but it wasn't long before the relationship collapsed. Well, during their short dating time, Clinton's burn rate was high, and he was splashing cash here and there to keep his high-status relationship. It was all fun and games until the bills started piling up. Court documents later revealed he owed $412,000 in domestic support to 4 women, a significant drain on his fortune. But it wasn't just his own spending that sank him. Portis's downfall also came from trusting the wrong financial advisors. He heavily relied on Jeff Rubin and Janesh Brambat, 2 NFLPA-registered financial experts who promised him big returns. Instead, they turned his finances into a nightmare. The NFLPA later banned Brambat for running a Ponzi scheme. Rubin, meanwhile, convinced Portis to invest $1 million in an Alabama casino that was eventually shut down by regulators in 2012. Portis discovered too late that a stunning $3.1 million had disappeared from his accounts due to Rubin's shady dealings. By the time he retired in 2009, Portis's money was practically gone. Forced to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, he faced staggering debts that included $390,000 owed to the IRS, $287,000 to the MGM Grand, and $170,000 to the Borgata. Shockingly, he even owed $500,000 to his own mother. Yet, somehow, Portis found a way forward. He became a regular guest on former teammate Chris Cooley's radio show and co-hosted a weekly Redskins TV show, embracing a quieter, more grounded life. But he wasn't the only NFL star to face financial ruin. The next athlete is another one whose generous spirit and high-rolling lifestyle would ultimately lead to a devastating financial downfall. Vince Young. As a star NFL quarterback, Young was swept into a whirlwind of fame and wealth, living out a high-flying lifestyle with friends and romantic interests at his side. But the very generosity that made him a hit off the field became the downfall of his financial game plan. Young's spending was legendary, almost as famous as his time on the gridiron. He reportedly spent a staggering $5,000 a week at the Cheesecake Factory, which quickly became his go-to spot for treating friends to meals that might rival team dinners. And this wasn't just about grabbing a burger and a slice of cake. Also, in 2001, Vince was in a relationship with American actress Cynthia Kirchner. And what do you expect when dating a high-profile girlfriend? You spend, and spend more of your money. If not on jewelry, gifts, vacations, and expensive dinners, then where else? Once, he reportedly spent $15,000 in one evening, treating his crew to shots of Louis the-themed cognac and sending them home with bottles of premium wine. Who wouldn't be tempted to splash out like this with friends and girlfriend cheering them on? Yet it seemed Young's wallet was always open, buying last-minute flights for his then-girlfriend Cynthia Kirchner and friends, making every outing feel like an occasion, until his bank account felt the squeeze. But the allure of luxury was only part of Young's financial downfall.
What was it like filing for bankruptcy?
It was embarrassing when you didn't know what bankruptcy was all about after you sit down with a bankruptcy lawyer.
Behind the scenes, those he trusted with his money were less than trustworthy. Young had put his finances in the hands of his uncle and a financial advisor, but a closer look revealed forged signatures, missing funds, and a troubling trail of decisions that Young didn't authorize. When he finally teamed up with a lawyer, he saw the shocking extent of the financial wreckage. The reality check hit hard in 2013, when he was cut loose with some sobering advice after a brief signing with the Green Bay Packers. Clean all that stuff up. It was a clear warning that his career and finances needed urgent fixing. Despite making strides to take control of his finances, the damage had been done. By 2014, just 7 years after signing a $25 million contract with the Tennessee Titans, Young filed for bankruptcy. His listed assets couldn't cover his debts, which loomed between $1 million and $10 million. After Vince Young's financial downfall and the lessons learned from his struggle, another high-profile athlete faced a similar story, but with a twist. Raghib Ismail. Rocket's story is fascinating, an explosive blend of athletic success and financial blunders that kept spiraling, often at the expense of impressing those he held dear. Known for his speed and agility, Ismail's football career skyrocketed him into fame, with a landmark contract in the Canadian Football League that secured him millions. Yet, beneath the glory of his early achievements lay a pattern of risky business choices that would later become his financial undoing. What went wrong? For starters, Ismail seemed drawn to ventures that, while noble in intent, were doomed from the beginning. Among these was his attempt to launch a religious-themed amusement park, a venture as ambitious as it was financially perilous. Driven by his faith and a desire to create something meaningful, Ismail poured his wealth into the project. However, the park never opened, and the funds disappeared, leaving him with a crater in his bank account. If only that were the end of the story. Time after time, Ismail became involved in ventures that seemed more about impressing and supporting those around him than about sound financial planning. Family, friends, even romantic partners. The closer they were to him, the more he felt obligated to deliver for them. And when you're riding high, who stops to think, is this really wise? Romance didn't help his finances either. Driven by love and the need to shower his partners with grand gestures, Ismail spent lavishly on vacations, jewelry, and gifts. But can love really be bought? For Ismail, while heartfelt, these investments in relationships only compounded his financial strain, stacking up bills that began to dwarf his income. And all the while, he maintained the image of a successful, thriving athlete. In recent years, he has openly reflected on these mistakes, hoping others can learn from his missteps. He's a testament to resilience, using his own financial fiascos to teach younger athletes the importance of planning, humility, and knowing when to say no, both to others and sometimes to oneself. But he wasn't the only football star whose fortunes took a surprising turn after the final whistle blew. Another football legend faced a similarly turbulent financial path, though his challenges came not from failed ventures or lavish gifts, but from the high costs of personal upheaval following retirement. Dermontti Dawson. As a legendary center for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Dawson's prowess earned him a place in the NFL Hall of Fame. But while fans cheered him on, few could imagine the challenges awaiting him post-retirement, a series of struggles ending with Dawson filing for bankruptcy. After leaving the league, Dawson faced the painful collapse of his marriage to his ex-wife Regina, which triggered a financial landslide. Divorce isn't cheap, but it can feel like financial quicksand when you're a high-profile athlete. The alimony, legal fees, and court-mandated payments were relentless. ridiculous. How could someone who had earned millions suddenly find himself in a financial bind? Divorce settlements had him juggling alimony and legal bills while still trying to meet the expectations of his once lavish NFL-backed lifestyle. Of course, the toll wasn't purely financial. Legal battles and personal turmoil can cloud even the most rational minds, leading to impulsive and costly decisions. For Dawson, the emotional strain compounded his financial mistakes, a perfect storm brewing quietly as he grappled with life off the gridiron. Managing wealth during a career is one thing. Sustaining it post-retirement is another entirely. Used to a certain lifestyle in the NFL, Dawson may have assumed his earnings would stretch far longer than they ultimately could. Unfortunately, Dawson's story mirrors that of countless athletes who step out of the limelight only to find that their riches don't last. There's the familiar struggle of trying to uphold a superstar lifestyle, the financial obligations left over from personal relationships, and the lack of a steady income, all of which can drag even the wealthiest into ruin. When Dawson filed for bankruptcy, it was a stunning fall, not just for him, but for everyone who'd admired his rise. The challenges of maintaining a high-profile lifestyle, compounded by personal turmoil and costly legal obligations, cast a shadow over his retirement. Unfortunately, Dawson isn't alone in this struggle. For many athletes, stepping off the field means confronting the harsh realities of post-career life and finances. Chris McAlister. Born in 1977, McAlister's athletic talent was undeniable. His high school and college years were a prelude to greatness, as he earned a scholarship to the University of Arizona, where he became a standout cornerback. In 1999, his hard work paid off when he was drafted 10th overall by the Baltimore Ravens. From the moment he stepped onto the field, McAlister made an impact. His speed, agility, and defensive instincts set him apart as one of the NFL's top cornerbacks. His stellar performance earned him 3 Pro Bowl selections and a Super Bowl ring in 2001. But while McAlister's career was thriving, his personal life was unraveling, setting the stage for his financial downfall. With fame came the allure of a lavish lifestyle. McAlister indulged in every luxury the NFL paycheck could buy: expensive cars, mansions, and nights of excess. But behind the glitz, financial mismanagement was quietly brewing. The distractions of his high-profile life masked the reality of his growing financial obligations. And then came the child support battles. This was after his ex-wife Marlene filed for a divorce after being married to McAlister for only 13 months. Monthly child support claims of $11,000 added to his mounting debts. As his career began to wind down, McAlister found himself trapped in a cycle of legal battles and financial instability. Despite earning millions, he was unable to keep up with his obligations. In 2009, his once promising career spiraled into a public scandal. Reports surfaced that McAlister, now struggling to pay off tens of thousands in child support, had moved back in with his parents, a stark contrast to the luxurious life he once enjoyed. How did it all go wrong? The very lifestyle that defined McAlister's fame also became the root of his financial demise. Could more careful financial planning have saved him from this spiral? After all, how many stars fall before realizing that without a solid foundation, even the brightest career can crumble? Chris McAlister's path shows how fame and fortune can quickly turn from blessing to burden when unchecked spending and personal obligations begin to pile up. And he wasn't alone. Another NFL star also found himself caught in the same trap, only to face a different set of financial challenges that would ultimately bring him to his knees. Deuce McAlister. For years, McAlister, a star player for the New Orleans Saints, seemed to be living the dream, enjoying the perks of fame and wealth. But behind the scenes, he made financial decisions that would ultimately lead to bankruptcy. Why? To keep up appearances, impress, and provide for those close to him. McAlister's well-known generosity became both his signature and his Achilles heel. Friends, family, and even distant connections turned to him for support. And with an NFL star's salary, he rarely said no. Who wouldn't want to help those they love? Yet, each act of kindness became another brick in a wall of growing financial burdens. The tipping point came with his investment in car dealerships, a business venture that was supposed to be his golden ticket after football. Instead, these dealerships became financial quicksand, particularly during the late 2000s economic crash. Were these ventures driven more by sound financial planning or the pressure to secure his legacy? Perhaps a bit of both. To complicate things, McAlister's romantic life with his wife had a role in his financial strain, with relationships marked by extravagant gestures, high-end vacations, vacations, and luxuries that added up fast. Who doesn't want to impress their loved ones? But in McAllister's case, the need to maintain this upscale lifestyle spiraled out of control, leaving him struggling to keep up appearances and eventually to keep up with creditors. By the time 2009 rolled around, McAllister's once glorious NFL salary couldn't stem the tide of debts piling up around him. Bankruptcy filings revealed the extent of his troubles, surprising fans who had seen him as the very image of success. For McAllister, confronting the realities of his choices was a humbling and likely heartbreaking moment. After all, even the most giving heart can be drained if the wallet isn't up to the challenge. For McAllister, the strain of his financial choices ultimately led to a sobering downfall, but he wasn't alone. Across the NFL, even the most seasoned players were not immune to financial pitfalls. The next athlete, a former force on the field and a family man off it, soon found himself in similar waters. Luther Ellis. Known for his prowess on the field with the Detroit Lions, Ellis raked in nearly $11.6 million between 2000 and 2004. But despite this substantial income, financial security proved as elusive as a Super Bowl ring. Ellis, like so many others, thought himself immune to the money troubles that plagued lesser-prepared athletes. He ignored the Lions' financial literacy programs and dove headfirst into risky investments, including real estate and tech ventures. Sadly, these bets went bust, leaving him deep in debt with little to show for it. As if these failed investments weren't enough, Ellis also had significant family responsibilities weighing him down. A father of 11 children, 5 biological and 6 adopted, Ellis was not only managing a large household, but also paying multiple alimonies. That's a tall order for anyone, let alone someone already on shaky financial ground. How could he have kept the ship steady? His debts only continued to mount, made worse by high mortgage payments on homes in Michigan and Utah, unpaid taxes and credit card bills. The final blow came when Ellis and his wife Rebecca had no choice but to file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Their $1,038 million in assets, including an NFL pension and a modest annuity, stood in stark contrast to their staggering $4.4 million in liabilities. Among their listed assets was a woman's Rolex, a small but painful reminder of past luxuries now beyond reach. The experience was humbling, to say the least. Here was a man who had once been celebrated for his generosity and dedication to his community, now reliant on that same community to help pay the bills and put food on the table. Churches and friends stepped up, offering Ellis aid during his darkest hours, a testament to his character, but also a somber reminder of the precariousness many athletes face when the spotlight fades. If anything, Ellis's missteps may inspire others to make informed choices and seek out sound financial advice before it's too late. As daunting as Ellis's financial missteps and family responsibilities were, his story is far from unique in the world of high-profile athletes. The next athlete, a football legend who, despite career earnings tallying up to a staggering $80 million, found himself entangled in financial turmoil all the same. Terrell Owens. Here's a man who, after earning a staggering $80 million in his NFL career, saw his fortune dwindle, proving that fame and wealth don't always come with financial wisdom. Owens' story is a cocktail of mismanaged money, high-profile relationships, and a lifestyle that burned through cash as if it were endless. What went wrong? For starters, Owens trusted the wrong people with his fortune. He later admitted, "They just basically stole from me," pointing to advisors who mismanaged his wealth. It's a tale as old as sports stardom itself. Athletes lean on professionals to handle their wealth, only to realize too late they've been taken for a ride. But this isn't where the story ends. Then there were the relationships. Known for his string of high-profile romances, Owens' love life came with serious financial baggage. He spent money on jewelry, gifts, and expensive vacations. And when you do the math with the number of women he dated, that's a good portion of his earnings that went to each and every woman. For instance, during his entire career, he dated Lisa Leslie, Vivica Fox, Sana Lathan, Candace Cabrera, Felicia Terrell, Jessica White, Surinder Swan, Keita Williams, Rachel Snyder, and Kip Force. As a result, he fathered several children with these women, which led to jaw-dropping child support obligations. Imagine paying nearly $50,000 each month. That's not just a dent, it's a crater in anyone's finances, and Owens was no exception. This, combined with other expenses, started to send his bank account into a tailspin. But Owens wasn't just spending on child support, no. He had a taste for the good life. One of his grand purchases was a mansion in Georgia, a symbol of his success that later slipped through his fingers in a foreclosure. Can a lifestyle of mansions, jewels, and extravagant gifts really be sustained in an athlete's career? For Owens, the answer was a resounding no. The next story belongs to a quarterback once admired for his prowess on the field, but who, like Owens, found himself caught in a financial whirlwind after his NFL career ended. Bernie Kosar. Once a celebrated quarterback, Kosar faced a financial storm that many athletes dread: the precarious life after professional sports. His journey from NFL glory to financial ruin is a cautionary tale of how quickly fortunes can shift. The first hints of trouble came in 2009 when Kosar filed for bankruptcy. His debt was a jaw-dropping $19.5 million, a figure that wasn't just a result of failed business moves. Among his creditors was his ex-wife, whose financial demands from their divorce settlement had been a significant weight on Kosar's wallet after paying $3 million. The ongoing obligations to her added layers to his debt pile, revealing the hidden toll personal relationships can take on finances. Isn't it ironic how the very people you support can sometimes end up as financial roadblocks? Kosar's business ventures didn't help matters either. He invested heavily in real estate, a sector that seemed promising at the time but would soon collapse. As the market tumbled, so did Kosar's investments, turning what were once promising assets into enormous liabilities. Even a Tampa bank that financed these ventures landed on the list of creditors, illustrating just how far-reaching his financial problems were becoming. But Kosar wasn't just investing in real estate, he was also investing in people. Known for his big heart, he often lent money to friends and family, never thinking twice about it. While admirable, these generous gestures only added to his financial strain. How could someone with such noble intentions end up in such a bind? The story takes another twist with Kosar's role as CEO of the Cleveland Gladiators. His commitment to the team added yet another layer of financial responsibility, even listing his old boss as a creditor. To top it off, he owed his beloved Cleveland Browns $1.5 million, the very team that had once been his pride and joy. As Kosar's struggles continued, his story became a powerful reminder that financial challenges after sports are not unique to him. Just as Kosar's life after the NFL turned tumultuous, another legendary quarterback would find himself facing a different but equally daunting set of hurdles. Dan Marino. Known for his legendary career as the Miami Dolphins quarterback, Marino was idolized for his skill, tenacity, and of course, his record-breaking arm. But like a perfectly thrown pass intercepted at the last second, Marino's off-field ventures veered wildly off course, leaving him grappling with a significant financial and personal setback that nearly reshaped his life. The story begins with Digital Domain Media Group, an innovative company that once dazzled the entertainment world with groundbreaking visual effects for films like Titanic and Transformers. They even wowed the public with a lifelike hologram of Tupac Shakur at Coachella, an accomplishment that skyrocketed their stock price. Investors like Marino were understandably impressed by Digital Domain's allure as its shares hit a promising $9.20. Enticed by this promise, Marino took a major financial leap, acquiring shares valued at a whopping $14.5 million. The former quarterback was all in, hoping to secure a future as dazzling as the movie's Digital Domain helped bring to life. However, as every football fan knows, even the best laid plans can go horribly wrong. Just 10 months after going public, Digital Domain filed for bankruptcy in September 2012, blindsiding Marino and other investors. Overnight, the value of his shares plummeted to a disheartening 55 cents each, slashing his investment to under $900,000, a brutal $13.6 million loss. For anyone, even an NFL legend, that kind of hit is devastating. It seemed the digital dream Marino invested in had turned into a costly nightmare, forcing him to face a financial reality far from the glory days of his career. But there was more than just money on the line. Around the same time, Marino's personal life faced a shock of its own. The quarterback's secret extramarital affair had come to light, leading to a complex web of settlements, child support payments, and strained family relationships. The financial impact of his decisions weighed heavily on Marino, who now had not only investment losses to recoup, but also a family to hold together amidst the newfound scandal. As with Digital Domain, Marino's personal entanglements turned out to be a costly gamble with consequences that went beyond numbers. His dual downfall, financially and personally, casts a different light on Marino's legacy. How could someone so masterful at orchestrating plays on the field fumble so disastrously in his investments and personal life? Was it overconfidence, a desire to keep up appearances, or simply the allure of high-stakes ventures? Marino's story is a clear reminder that even the mightiest heroes are not immune to the vulnerabilities of ambition and personal indiscretion. If you enjoyed watching this video, check out our other awesome videos on the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.